So I know we talked about mental health a few times, and I feel like it's a subject that we can continue to talk about. But there's a lot of common misconceptions, I guess, that planners may have around mental health. And you did tap on to a little bit of it before, is like when you're feeling that you're down, when you're feeling that you're getting stressed, to really step away. But sometimes I feel like there is not an out for event professionals, or they don't see the out. What are some misconceptions that you have seen over the years, or just some more suggestions on managing mental health while managing events? And there's so many ways that this can go. We have the client's expectations, right, to contend with, and then just the vendor partners that we work on. There's so many areas that stress can come on an event professional.
So I think what I'm inclined to say, I want to first acknowledge anyone who's listening and watching who may share my survivor identity. I am a multi survivor of abuse, and I am a lifelong, not lifelong, but my adult life advocate for therapy. And so what I'm about to say is just from that space, but definitely not from a medical perspective. I do feel strongly that if this work, and I know this is for planners, but if this work is costing you yourself, then you need first and foremost to find other work. That I feel strongly about. Secondly, I think, and I am I am definitely not perfect at this. I still work late nights. I still do weekends. We even, as a protocol for certain events, go into an on-call scenario.
Mhm.
But what I try to tell people is you've got to focus on your endpoint. So for me, and your endpoint should have a celebration, even if it wasn't perfect. So for us, we just went through an insane October, and I don't use that as insane in a bad way. October 3rd, I left. In October, Saturday, whatever that date is when we finished. And it was nonstop and it was consecutive.
Mm.
But after that, prior to, I had already planned the ways in which I was going to celebrate myself. The third thing I would say, and I have five, though I'll be brief, is you need to have an accountability buddy. You need to have a safe space. Now, my immediate safe space for me is obviously my husband, obviously, but I think you need to have an industry safe space.
Mhm.
And I would say that has to be someone who's not your colleague because they can't see the situation outside of the situation, but someone in the industry. The fourth thing I would say is, and we just sent out an email today, is you need to communicate to clients what your boundaries are as a business. So for this business, as the clients just learned today, we are closed, close. Not like if you text me, I'll answer, like close, December 18th through January 8th.
Mm.
In December, we only will work Monday through Thursday, 10 to 4. And on Fridays, we are closed. So I think you need to set some standards. And then the fifth thing is, I think you have to laugh. I think sometimes if we look at the larger world, and if someone is so upset, I'll never forget a man was so upset because the buffet was not out. He was yelling, spitting, all of the things in my face. You kind of have to laugh and you have to think to yourself, this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with him and his stuff, and laugh. Because some of it, I'm not saying now, some things not funny, but the reaction to no air, like the little chicken wing, that's hilarious. That is truly hilarious. Not when we can see kids surviving war or you're at a conference for climate change, but the thing that you are up in arms about is your chicken wing.
Mm.
It's hilarious. Put it in perspective.
Exactly. And it's their perception of whatever. And it's not necessarily something that you have to absorb, like you're saying, you know, take it lightly, see what you can do to action it, and just keep on keep on moving.
Well, and I love what you say. I always tell people, and they don't believe me, I don't take on stuff that's not mine. I choose my
Exactly.
stuff.
That's yours.
I chose my husband, so yeah, I gotta take all of his stuff, and
Mhm,
I don't mean that in a negative way. My parents and being a caregiver to my dad before he died, I
mhm,
chose that, but, like, your fit over something, I don't have to choose that.
mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that's some very key points, and I just hope everyone took note of that. Those are some just amazing points, and they're practical. They're practical, but applying them is something that you have to work really hard to do. And you have to defend that. I feel like, you have to put in them action, but then at times you might have to defend your boundaries that you're setting for yourself. But boundaries to me create freedom for you. So you have to make sure you're keeping those boundaries.
Well, I agree with you because here's what I know to be true. People say, "Oh, I want people to be happy," but they resent people who choose peace. They want you to meet them at their level of anxiety or their level of, "But I choose peace." And that is
Mhm.
hard for people.
Yep, absolutely. Especially when you're responding, right, to a crisis or something. You're keeping your cool, you're trying to operate in a particular space of like peace and actioning things and getting things done and moving along. But some people can't, they don't react like this gentleman with the chicken wing. He had to react in the way that he did and probably was upset because maybe you aren't reacting in the same way that he he was. So making sure that you, yeah, protect your peace too is
You don't
important.
have to match people's energy.